I'm sorry, Bucket. I'm sorry I doubted you. Maybe this Bucket wasn't evil after all. Maybe the evil Bucket has indeed been slain. We shall never know.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, surely, right, Buckets? Alright, where do we go next?
A strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
What more could you possibly be? What more could you possibly want from a bucket? And maybe you haven't talked, but it has been talking to us, right? Surely? Okay, we had the quote-unquote countdown ending, which turned into silly birds. We need to escape and go to the museum. We need to go to the bottom of the mind control facility. We need to toy around with the boss's elevator. And going to the right and then to the left and then taking the elevator down with the line. Dying maybe in the cargo area. That was an ending, quote-unquote, too. We had the apartment ending where we meet our wife. Have you met my wife, Buckets? I mean, I get a feeling the wife is fake, but we can unplug the phone on her as well. There's so many options. But right now, I am at least a little bit curious
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
About the bottom of the mind control facility. For if it's not a mind control facility, but a silly bird watching facility, then what's at the bottom?
Still no one was here.
Alright, Bucket, I hope you like singing, for a wonderful song awaits.
Stanley and the Bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
although this time,
Mind Control
I'm
Facility.
turning on the bloody lights. At least I hope that doesn't actually change stuff. But I want to see, and last time we were stuck in darkness, and even though me being stuck in darkness with you, Buckets, is less bad than me being stuck in darkness on my own, a little bit of light
rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
There we go.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the Bucket both wondered to themselves.
Yep, we better figure out, right, Buckets? Which means Geronimo.
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below.
I failed you, Buckets.
He fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall.
Thank you. Are you okay,
now,
Buckets?
What to do next? Stanley wondered.
Good question.
Stanley and the Bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here. A bit cold, perhaps.
Okay, maybe if...
After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the Bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home.
This is wonderful,
In fact,
Buckets.
after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all.
Yep, never thought of it at all.
To fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning.
I'm sorry, Buckets. I'm sorry.
Unsettled the Bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The Bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the Bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The Bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the Bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Now I kind of feel sad. We grew apart, all because I was obsessed with the endings. I couldn't just be with the bucket and enjoy life. No, I had to think of what was. I was stuck in the past, stuck with figurines on my mind, while the bucket was looking forward. He didn't care about freedom or leaving this facility. It made a home, and I broke it down. Well, it is what it is. Sorry, Bucket.
Already this was
Sometimes it is just that
Stanley
way.
decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Well, I would go to the broom closet, but the broom closet is against us, Bucket, so...
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Even if we betray the bucket never betrays us. And even if the bucket betrays us, then we will never betray it. That's how that works, right? No, I'm not really sure. Anyway, what do we want to do next? Let's jump off the cargo
Stanley
lift.
clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not, said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
We
The
shall
cargo
go
lift,
somewhere
yes.
else.
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Yes. But... oh no, I'm so clumsy, Bucket. I know you're my friend, but you really shouldn't have become friends with me. I am a liability for this very reason.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
Yes, I do.
Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true.
Are you, Bucket?
You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Well, we did survive the bottom of the mind control facility, thanks to you,
I'm
Bucket.
serious, Stanley. Jump with the bucket. I promise you'll live. I extra double promise that you can land on the bucket and not die.
Well, when has the narrator ever lied to us, Buckets? He's gonna lie to us. There's no ending down there. The door is open, but no. Buckets! Catch me, catch me, catch me, catch me, catch me!
Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Well, you're not the only clumsy person around, narrator. It's just the way that it is.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Alright. So, dying, bad idea. Surely. Again, so many things I still want to do. Let's meet our old
Stanley
friend.
clutched the bucket
Let's meet
tightly
our
to
old
his-
friend,
This was not
the
correct way to the
Line.
meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yeah, surely, but...
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
No, you
Was
were
this
wrong.
better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Alright, here we go.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
No, we have got an adventure line to visit. Our old best friend from before. Please don't get jealous, Button. Button, my god. Yes, I'm also friends with
Stanley,
Buttons.
I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this
what?
place eventually.
Hi. Why is the baby here? Why is my wife here? Why is the broom closet here? Hi, Line. Good to see you. What's
You see,
going on?
your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've
Why?
come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
What about it?
The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
So what?
We're the ones that matter, Stanley.
You all
Classic
matter.
characters from the first
Well,
game.
except
like
the baby.
Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
I'm not.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
That's why I'm
We could make
here.
The Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Why don't we all go on an adventure? I made friends with the bucket. That means you all can also become friends with the bucket, right? Except the baby. I still don't trust you. But we could go on an adventure together. Let's go. Where do we go? Well, we place our fate
Look
in
at
the
that
line.
bloody
Where's the
line.
music?
Who knows where it'll go off to next?
We need music.
And it played some silly music
Yes,
as well.
yes. There we go. It's just the way that we all like it. That's the way it's all meant to be. But where will this line just take us? Well,
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about.
Ah.
Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs
God.
and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then.
Yes.
Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
But what about
if
the
we want to
music?
do that, you're going to have to give something up.
no. I'm not giving up my bucket, if that's what you're implying here. Oh. This is the baby's territory. Right? Yeah, this is the baby's territory. The 2 doors. Everyone is here. Why did you stop the music? I was just getting in the vibe with it. Was starting to come up with better lyrics while it was going on, and you took that away from me. Now I'll never have that vibe back again. Okay, where are we going? What is this place?
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
No, we don't.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No. No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore
Nope.
of the Stanley
Nope.
Parable.
Nope. Not
True,
doing this.
It also was not in the original
Exactly.
game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to
Says
me
you.
it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
It's my buckets.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
No, I have no
Surely
clue.
you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I'm not saying goodbye to the bucket. How about the bucket destroys itself?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
No,
I don't know what
no.
the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
Oh, but if
Sure, I
every...
can hear
Oh,
you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable
everything
characters?
is a bucket.
Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about?
The
broom
buckets.
closet? Certainly
Oh,
not.
yeah,
I wonder
broom
what
closet,
sort of
yes.
Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket.
But everything
Quickly
is a
now.
bucket.
The fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley.
I
Give
can't.
The fans
I
what they
can't.
want. Hurry
No,
and
I can't. I can't.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
That I agree with. But it will never be better than the bucket. But maybe I should give it a bucket. I mean, if it explodes like that, it destroys everything around it. Because as we learned, everything is a bucket. So maybe that saves everyone. And then no one will hate Mondays anymore. Surely. Well, let's go and feed a bucket destroyer a bucket.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
That door normally closes. Can I go and grab the buckets? I'm taking the bucket. Nothing's bucket?
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
I can't remember if this was ever a thing in the base game.
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
For now. But are we sure? Are we sure? I mean, we had the whole business of resetting everything, but... how about we just stay here and wait?
As soon as Stanley noticed that the door to his office was still open, he rushed in with his bucket and shut the door. The pressure of going out and finding another bucket variant on one of the Stanley Parable's classic endings was simply too much for him.
Yes, way too much, way too much.
It's nothing but swapped-out dialogue describing a bucket, he screamed to himself. It's not nearly different enough to be considered a true sequel. No, he would stay right here in his office where things were safe, familiar. If others were happy with the bucket endings, well, good for them. But Stanley knew that one day, somehow, a true sequel would emerge with actual new content. If only he had waited long enough. Just a little longer, Stanley. Keep waiting. You'll get it one day, surely.
Surely.
Eventually.
We'll just wait.
Keep waiting. Just a little longer now.
We'll have a true Stanley Parable 3. That's how it goes. Normally the door always closes behind you.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Okay.
What could it mean?
It's just the
Stanley
normal
decided to go to the meeting
cold
room.
feet
Perhaps he had
ending,
simply
sort
missed
of.
a memo.
Well, happy to have, well, taken the opportunity to actually go and visit that. I'll take it. So what was I planning? Oh yeah, I was gonna feed you to a bucket destroyer.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
Yup. And my ego is big enough, or small enough. I'm not entirely sure where I was going with that. Anyway, time to destroy a bucket. It is meant to be, bucket. It is meant to be, because if the bucket destroyer doesn't get what he wants, he destroys everything else. And it is a noble sacrifice, trust me. I wouldn't throw myself into the machine, but you surely will, because you are heroic and I'm not. That's why you are the bucket, and that's why you are my property.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
This is it,
Don't you
bucket.
get it, Stanley?
This is it.
We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
But the bucket destroyer has
I
already
think
been
it'll
destroying
make a
the
wonderful
line.
New addition
Maybe
to
the
rich
line
lore
has
of the
been mind
Stanley Parable.
controlled.
True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
It looks very good, gotta admit.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
It's hungry.
Go ahead now, Stanley.
Can I push buttons?
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Can I push any buttons? I don't think so.
Now listen
Well,
to me.
buckets?
It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
Yes.
I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
And we gotta feed
Sure,
the machine.
I can hear you saying, how does
Buckets?
a character with only one personality
Fairly
deserve
well.
to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
No.
Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality
I'm
traits.
trying to
What
destroy the
other object
buckets.
in this game can you even say that about?
The bucket doesn't
Broom
wanna
Closet?
go.
Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it.
The
We
bucket
can't
is
get
clinging
back to the
on to
classic
me.
Stanley Parable
I can't
characters
feed
like
the machine.
the Bucket Destroyer
I'm trying.
until you crush that
I'm
damn
trying.
bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give
The bucket
fans
machine
what
isn't.
they want.
Well, the
Hurry
bucket
and
destroyer isn't hungry. That's the only plausible conclusion that we can make. R.I.P. Bucket Destroyer. R.I.P. Alright, that didn't really take us anywhere. Stupid Bucket doesn't want to go. Stupid Bucket doesn't want to be destroyed. I get it, but I thought you were heroic,
I can't
Buckets.
wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
I should have just become friends with the button that says Jim.
Stanley cradled the bucket.
Anyway,
in a gentle
onwards we
embrace,
go.
Protective, yet
Not
delicate,
too many endings
assertive,
remain now.
and compassionate.
I think 2 on the left door, 2 on the right with the apartment. Let's go meet our wife. Well,
Stanley
my
pressed the
wife's
bucket tightly
bucket.
to his chest.
It's my wife,
This
not
was
your
the
wife,
correct
unless
way
you
to
have
the
got a
meeting
wife
room.
as well.
But Stanley had
Are we
felt
living
the bucket
together?
calling to him, telling him that the employee
Questions,
lounge
questions,
was simply the place
questions.
to be.
Now I'm honestly really curious how this is gonna go.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Why should we go to the cargo lift, Buckets? Are we going home? Where are we going,
Good.
Buckets?
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Which would
Stanley did
be...
not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
It's a sign of Bucket God. And you gotta listen to that. Alright, Bucket God.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Well, this is a
Stanley
light
once
room.
again obeyed blindly.
You should turn off the light in that case. I see no dark rooms here, Bucket. Unless you mean that. How did you know there was a dark room there? Surely you are God. In here? Alright. Oh, as you wish.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Well, we do want to escape, don't we, Bucket? And I can trust you would never betray me. We discussed that before. Let's go home.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend.
Yes, very true.
And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Well, the fact that you don't believe it... You're a non-believer. Blasphemy against Bucket Lord. Button. The bucket knows what I like. The beige page. Not yellow. Definitely not. Bucket, are you home? Bucket! Ah, good to see you, Bucket. Hello, Stanley, it's me, your Bucket. Perhaps have to take me to work with you. But we're home now, we don't want to go back to work. Unless it's a take your bucket to work day. I mean, I haven't checked the calendar, but sure, let's go to work.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
But if it's in my head, then surely it must be true, right? I mean, the bucket would never lie to me. The bucket would never fake being a sentient bucket. Why would it? It's my bucket. Press hard to take me back to home with you. We just got here, Bucket. Make up your mind.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well?
Nah.
To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object.
Bucket?
I want to say something to him, but I
Bucket.
don't know how I can convince
Bucket,
him.
there you
I
are.
don't know if he'll listen to me.
No, I won't listen to you, because I have all my attention on my friend, the Bucket. You want to go back to work again? We should go on a vacation, take a few days off, go to the beach. We can make sandcastles together. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yes, I know that sand gets absolutely everywhere, but you'll learn to love it.
Well, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
It can also transfer solids, like sand. That's not liquid. So that means that you lie, narrator. The bucket is the true lord. Don't listen to the loud man. Indeed, we just proceed to take us both back home.
You see, he's not listening.
Bucket?
He's still taking orders from the bucket. Once upon a time, it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to.
Well, that's
now, all
you
he
being
cares about
jealous.
is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
It's not stupid, but are you my bucket? You're not my bucket. Are you? You are my bucket. I couldn't see your stickers. Press G to ignore anyone in your life except for me. Well, you didn't say please, but you have never led me astray, Bucket. Never. So I trust you with my life.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
It's a wonderful bucket.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
See, you're getting on my side. We'll both love the buckets. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? That's why to go back up. You are real. I mean, you have got the sticker of, well, official bucketness, so yeah, let's go home.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say?
Buckety.
Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
That's you.
Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
No one is as good as my buckets. Press G to relive the same day with me over and over. Together on the couch, watching shows about other buckets, their lives. This is heaven.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Because bucket is love and bucket is life, that's what. Press R to go home, to work, to home, to work, to home, over and over. And Stanley and the buckets were happy.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No,
It's my bucket.
No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this
Keep
would be
your
less
hands
confusing.
off my
Yes.
buckets.
The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
It's my bucket. It even planned a romantic evening for us together. Get your hands off of my buckets.
Stanley, give me the bucket.
Never,
Give it to me.
never,
Give me the
never.
bucket,
No,
Stanley.
no, mine,
I
mine,
need
it's
it.
mine,
Give
it's
it to
mine,
me
it's
now.
mine.
Give it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley. That bloody narrator. It's my buckets. Every single time. Just when you think the game can't surprise you anymore,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
they
Stanley
just
decided
throw
to go to the
something like
meeting room.
that right in your
Perhaps he had
face.
simply missed a memo.
Alright, buckets. I do think our time is slowly coming to an end.
Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Yes, indeed. And with you being my only co-worker, we should get out of here.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's try and escape. Alright, Bucket, you have done so much for me. You've loved me, you've cared for me, you have never betrayed me, surely. We need to escape. Although that does lead us directly into the hands of a large metallic crusher, so... I'm not too sure where this is gonna go, Bucket, but... I guess we shall
Stanley and
find
the
out
Bucket
together.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Nope, we are gonna escape towards the crayon-shaped escape exit. That's how this works.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the Bucket would both meet a violent death.
Do you trust me, Bucket? I mean, we might violently die, but... together, we will protect each other. That's how we survive this.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the Bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
But why would we?
At this point, Stanley and the Bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
But we are there to support each other. And that means we survive anything. Right, Bucket? I know the red light's quite ominous, and yes, it is terrifying, but it will be fine. Here we are, Buckets. Meet our demise. Although, before I died, I was transported towards a very lovely museum, so...
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the Bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the Bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
No, that's a lie.
It puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the Bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself.
Okay, maybe.
And he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
Nah.
Farewell, Stanley.
The bucket will protect me. It will protect me. See? Magical powers of the bucket.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
It would have been something if it just crushed us instantly and then transported us towards this. Oh well. No, that should not say the Stanley Parable. That should say the bucket.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket.
Yeah.
It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
See, you understand me too. The bucket is just glorious. I no longer have the bucket. The bucket is dead. No, not the bucket. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness without a bucket? Only time will tell.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
No, we choose each other.
Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short
Well, that
life?
was never debatable. But we were made for each other. Well, the bucket was made for me, but that's not 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. Oh, God. No, really? A bucket with 2 handles? We have seen a bucket with 2 handles, but it was different from this. I thought it was 2 buckets inside of one another, but no. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. What? You don't mess around with buckets. I mean, bucket science is a thing, but yeah, Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. It's the bucket that controls us. But I do like my new and improved bucket. You were surely good in your time, but times change. The stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, and lack of reassurance goes into the bucket, and with the vulnerability equaling the size and strength of the bucket, we have coping strategy, which basically means holes. The bucket is live, and stress the level of water in the bucket. The rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. It's amazing. Presented without commentary. There's no need for commentary on the stress buckets. The stress bucket, well, it's de-stressing. So what more do we know about buckets from the past? That's my bucket. From the start it was already there. The bucket helped us out with leaks in the distant past. It's fed animals. The bucket is life. The bucket is love. The bucket is all. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. Oh God. How
No
can you
man
dislike
can
a
own
bucket?
And certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one.
Nope.
It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Indeed. Because the bucket knows all, so why should we deny the glory that is the knowledge of the bucket? The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, is for our very own good. What if I want the bucket? Bucket? I do hope that this place is placed inside of a jump circle. I'm coming for you!
But there is something we can do.
I can't believe I actually got the bucket.
Together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die.
No.
Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler.
The buckets will protect me. Protect me, buckets. Protect me. Protect me. Protect me. Thank you, bucket. You did as best as you could. And that's what, in the end, you can only ask for. That a bucket tries his best to help you. Well, that means, I think, that 2 more endings remain.
What? Buckets supposedly have deemed humans worthy to allow them to use them? What's next? Are we to believe that buckets created humanity? That buckets are aliens from a bucket world? Preposterous.